It was supposed to be the perfect escape, a weekend camping trip with friends in the middle of nowhere, away from the noise of the world. The kind of trip where you leave behind your phone, your worries, and your daily grind. But instead of serenity, I found myself trapped in a nightmare, one that would haunt me long after I escaped the woods. What started as a peaceful hike and a quiet evening by the campfire soon became a fight for survival. By the end of that night, we realized we weren't alone, and whatever was out there in the dark didn't want us to leave. So, if you're planning a trip into the woods anytime soon, think twice. Because sometimes the forest has secrets that are better left untouched. Stay tuned for the chilling details, and don't forget to subscribe to DarkTube if you're brave enough to hear more terrifying stories that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the world around you. It was supposed to be just another weekend trip, nothing too extravagant. My friends and I had been talking about going camping for months. We needed a break, something to get away from the grind of our daily lives. The plan was simple: head into the mountains, pitch tents by a secluded lake, and spend 2 days with nothing but nature to keep us company. The drive was long, but nothing too bad. As we neared our destination, the road became narrower, the trees thicker. I could feel the air change, crisp, cool, and a little too quiet for my liking. But we were there. We were finally here, and no amount of unease could ruin our excitement. We set up camp near an old trailhead. The area was marked as a historic site, something to do with settlers from the early 1800s. I didn't think much of it at the time. The forest had a way of swallowing sound, and there was something almost peaceful about the way the trees stood, tall and quiet, like silent guardians watching over the land. By sunset, we had a campfire blazing, cooking up some food and telling the usual ghost stories. The night felt perfect. That's when it happened. It started small, just a whisper of movement in the brush behind us. At first, we all thought it was the wind, but as the night deepened, the sounds became more distinct. It wasn't the wind, it was footsteps. Someone or something was walking around our camp. "Is anyone else hearing that?" Jenna, one of my friends, asked, her voice trembling. We all froze. I thought I saw something flicker in the darkness, but when I looked again, nothing was there. Still, the air felt wrong. It was too still, too quiet, and the feeling of being watched crept up on us. We tried to brush it off. Maybe it was a bear or some other animal prowling around. But then came the voice. Low, faint, whispering. I couldn't make out the words, but it sounded like someone was standing just behind me, breathing into my ear. I turned quickly, but again, there was nothing. The fire crackled loudly, and the shadows danced around us. "Did you hear that?" Mark asked, his face pale. Before anyone could respond, the whispering stopped. Then came something worse. The unmistakable sound of twigs snapping underfoot. Heavy, intentional. Someone or something was walking directly toward us. Panic set in. We grabbed our flashlights, shining them into the forest. But the beam of light revealed only trees stretching out into the darkness. "Let's back up." "Now," I urged, my voice trembling. But as we moved to gather our things, the path we had walked in on disappeared. The trail we had followed was gone. The dense forest around us had shifted, as if it was alive, rearranging itself. I started to feel something cold trickle down my spine. Something wasn't right. The world felt too big, too silent, like the trees themselves were holding their breath. We tried to retrace our steps, but the woods kept changing. We couldn't find the trail. We couldn't find the lake. It was as if we were moving in circles, going nowhere. The whispers began again, louder now, and we realized they were coming from every direction. Then I saw her. A figure standing just at the edge of the trees, barely visible in the moonlight. She was tall, too tall, and wearing a white dress that fluttered unnaturally in the breeze. Her face was hidden in shadow, but her eyes were glowing, reflecting the light of our flashlights like two pools of black ink. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice cracking. The figure didn't move, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent, as if the trees themselves were speaking in some ancient language. Panic gripped us. We tried to move, to leave, but the forest wouldn't let us. We were trapped. One by one, my friends disappeared. It was like they were pulled into the darkness, dragged away by invisible hands. I screamed their names, but no one responded. Then, just as I was about to give up hope, I saw the figure again, closer this time. She was right behind me, her cold breath on my neck. I ran. My legs were heavy, my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't know where I was going, only that I had to get away. The forest closed in around me, branches clawing at my skin, but I couldn't stop. I stumbled, fell, and kept running. Finally, after what felt like hours, I stumbled onto a dirt road. The moment my foot touched the asphalt, the whispers stopped. The forest fell silent. I turned back, but there was nothing there. No woods, no figure, no sounds. Just the empty road and the quiet of the night. I made it out of those woods, but something came back with me. A feeling, a cold, lingering presence that has never left. Every time I close my eyes, I hear those whispers. I see that figure standing just beyond the edge of the trees, waiting. So, what do you think? Were the woods truly alive? Or did we stumble upon something that was never meant to be found? If you've had your own close encounter with the unknown, or if you dare to explore the dark corners of the world with me, make sure to subscribe to DarkTube. Trust me, there's a lot more where this came from, and you'll want to be here when the next terrifying tale drops. And remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that don't end when the lights come back on.